want to welcome you to this video. In this video, I'm going to be painting a wintry, snowy landscape with a house in the background, showing some contrast. So let's get started. All right, so first I'm going to go ahead and sketch in my house. I'm just going to do a little bit. Here's where the land's going to come in. I want it right here on this line here. So I'm going to speed this up as I sketch it in lightly, and we will get started. I'm just going to start by sketching a square. So now I have gone ahead and went in with my masking fluid. I'm just cleaning my palette a little bit here. And what I used was this Winsor & Newton, just to make sure that I keep some of these areas white. I went ahead and masked off, and that has dried. Okay, first I'm going to come in with a little bit of neutral tint. And so I'm just going to be grabbing some of that. I'm going to switch to a bigger brush because I'm going to go in starting at our hilltop and up into our making some trees here in the background. So I want to do a little bit of a neutral wash. Maybe add in a little bit. It's kind of got a blue undertone to it. So I believe I'm going to come in here with just a bit of the blue. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And that is a phthalo blue that I've mixed in with it. Just a little bit there. Okay. And I'm just going to start here and start making some vertical shapes here along my tree line. We don't want it to be any type of pattern. We want it to feel very organic and random. I have masked off a couple of places here for my lighter trees that come in. And what I'm going to do is I have my spray bottle handy, because I feel like I should have probably, or I didn't have to, but maybe I should have wet that a little bit. We'll see. And that's going to go right up against our house there. And there's going to be trees back here in the background. all along this roof area. We will be going in and darkening up. I'm just going to go right over that chimney because that's dark in itself too. So I'm going to put that in there. And these trees, we're going to keep working in this manner around our house because our roof is going to be light and we want it up against the dark. So the contrast really helps our main focus, which is going to be our house, to stand out. If it gets a little bit dark in here, that's okay because it's going to have shadows. I'm not too worried about that right now. So what I'm going to do is come in here with my spray bottle. I'm going to turn this around. Let me get this right. Okay, I'm going to turn this around, have it tilted at an angle. And I'm going to come in here with some spray. And just let that, there we go. If I need to drop in a little bit of color, I can do that. If you see that, let that just flow on up in there. Okay, if it starts getting a little bit too crazy up here, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I want this image to have a very organic feel to it. And so we're going to let it run off of the page. I'm going to come in here, and this is my moon glow color. I'm going to drop in some of that back in here as well. It has more of a shadowy, like a red violet. It's a warmer. I would say it was a warmer. And if I want to cool it off a little bit, we're going to come in and add some of this blue here and there. Don't be afraid to let your colors mix on your paper. That's where the magic really starts to happen. And all right, now before I get too much on there, I'm going to take me I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over and let that run down just a bit there. Using my, I hope I'm still in focus here. And using this clean paper towel, I'm going to just begin to dab some, make some texture back in there. There we go. I like that. Okay. And I'm going to probably just let that dry. I don't want any hard lines back in here at this point. So I can go in. There we go. All right, I'm going to let that set for a minute. I'm liking that effect right there that I'm getting with this. And I'm probably going to come in, clean up a few little edges that I see bothering me. Okay. This is going to go with the lay of the land a little bit back in here. Doesn't need to be perfect. All right, there we go. And I'm going to switch to my smaller brush. Kind of reminds me a little bit of doing a pour, but I'm still using my brush. Gets very wet, but that's kind of the effect that we want in the background for our first layer. I'm liking that. I really don't want to mess with it too much more while that dries. Just go in here and clean up these edges, and what I'm doing is I'm rinsing my brush, and then I use like a towel or paper towel, actually is what I'm using, just to squeeze out the water from the brush. That way when I come back in, it will pick up. All right, I think I'm going to let that dry. All right, now that that has dried, I'm going to go ahead and come in here and start to mix in a bit of the green, but more on the blue side. So I'm going to use some of this neutral tint, blue, and I need to make quite a bit of it here. All right, I think that's enough green in there because I'm trying to make a teal color. So what color is that? I think that's a violet. No, that's ultramarine. Okay, let's try some of this ultramarine here mixed with that. Ooh, that's pretty. That's exactly what I needed. All right, well, I'm just going to come in here and start making some trees in here. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's not gonna. Get these a little bit closer in here. You can dab at it, stab at it. Whatever it takes to get those textures in there is what I say. Okay. It's still going to be a bit hazy back in here because it's farther away. So, but we will get those textures in there. Okay, I'm going to come with a little bit really light because I feel like it'll be more back in here. I don't want any kind of specific kind of. Okay. I'm going to get it too busy in there. Okay. There's definitely some taller trees up in here. Okay, I'm not feeling this one anymore. Get back up in here with this one. Okay, I'm going to bring a little bit more of this neutral tint back in here. And the shadows here. There we go. I'm liking that better. Okay, I want to soften up some of these edges here. Alright, I'm cool with that. Let's come back in here. Another brush I think that would be pretty good for this would be the dagger brush. I may go in with that here a little bit, but for now I'm going to keep going with what we're doing. It's going to get a little bit darker in here. Just varying the colors. We do not want it. It just looks too, I don't like that. Okay, if you don't like something, just blend it in a little bit. Doing this in layers, I feel, is going to be my best bet. So more of that now. Ultramarine. Let's grab a little bit more of that green. Get us a nice bluey teal going there. There we go. No matter what I'm working on, it always seems like I get a hair in it or something. Y'all have that trouble? Okay. More of this. I want to really, really try and keep this organic. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm locking that back in there. A little bit darker of this. Back in here, it's a little bit darker. It's gonna come up. It's gonna be a little bit. There we go. Okay. Okay, so as that dries, I think I will go ahead and switch over to my dagger brush. Really come in here with some of this. I'm mixing neutral tint with the moon glow. I'm going to pick up some of this teal color that I've made so it has kind of a little bit, still a little bit on the purpley side, I want to say here. I want it a little bit more darker. So I may come in here with some more of this neutral tint. There we go. Okay, it needs to be a little bit, it's still too watery. It needs a little bit more thicker. So I'm going to keep mixing until I get that consistency that I want. That's still. There we go. That's better. A little bit. There we go. That's more of the consistency that I was looking for. There we go. I'm just putting in some texture right now. I really enjoy this brush. Okay. So I want those light areas to show up. There we go. And I'll come back and fix the tops. By doing a little bit of texture back in there. I'm not getting too perfect with it back here, but I do want the tops to kind of, there we go. All right, I like that. Still the look of it, okay. It's starting to take shape. I do want it a little bit darker back in there. There we go. There's a heel coming down here. As long as these lines here, I'm gonna keep them kind of going with the angle of the slope. There we go. It's almost trying to paint itself here. I love when that happens. Go with it. Okay. I think I'm going to come back into some of my gray. Do I have enough? And my neutral tint and my moon glow. And we're going to work on some of these up here. Coming down. And that's a good thing that we masked off some of these areas. Okay, I like that. I'm going to keep going with that just a little bit. That's our chimney back in there. Well, that's okay if we go over it. I'll use a little bit of white on that a little bit later. I was trying to get the feel of these really tall trees back in here. Maybe add a tiny bit of that blue back in there. With that being ultramarine mixed with the moon glow, that's probably gonna, yeah, it's more of a violet undertone there, which is cool, but I really want to keep it more on the blue side too. So let's bring it back over to that blue just a little bit by adding in some phthalo. So I'm going to add some back in here, the phthalo. Well, there's snow, so there's going to be just trying to shape some of it, but not overdo it. I'll get back up in here a little bit. Now, while those trees dry, I am going to come in. I'm going to switch to a little bit of a bigger brush. My very favorite, I believe this is Filbert. Just come in with a little bit of this neutral tint. I'm going to try to come in where these lay in some of the land here. Oh, we know up against the house is going to have some. Alright, we'll just. And fading it out, blending it, because I don't really want any hard lines. So at this point, I'm laying down the paint and then using water to just blend that in a bit. Let's see, a little bit of the blue coming in here, or bluish. There we go. Oh, it's starting to feel like a nice wintry cold landscape there. All right, where else can I just put a little bit of this? So I'm going to let this dry once again. And if I'm happy with the way the trees look in the background, I will remove the masking fluid. But it needs to be completely dry to remove the masking fluid. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm going in with my dagger brush, and this is mostly dry. It's still a little damp, but that's the effect I want. And I'm going to load it up with some white gouache, and I'm just going to do a couple of splatters here and there. I'll let that go ahead and just mingle into the background and let that completely dry. All right, so this is completely dried again, and I have went ahead and removed the masking fluid, and so we are going to come over here and begin a little bit of work on our house. I want to get a barn red, and I may have to dip into my other palette because Okay, so sometimes you just can't think of the color that you want off the top of your head. I am starting to get close. This looks like it's red carmine with alizarin. And these aren't all my colors that I had. This was more of like what I began with. And the closer you are to this, the more of that color you're going to have in the mixture. Same over here. The closer you are to this, the more of that color. But I think that's kind of self-explanatory, I hope. But it looks like this is the color that is standing out to me, and it's not on this palette. So here is my carmine. Wow, that's really needs cleaned off. Okay. Glad my palette is, my mixing areas are clean, but okay. It gets a lot of love. Okay, it said it was a mixture of carmine and alizarin. So, okay, I think for my base one, that's good. I'm going to bring some over here because I'm going to also include a darker version of that. And darker, I mean, I'm looking at that shadow and it almost looks like, so I think I will add a little bit of wine red in there with that. More of a purpley, and here's my wine red. This is a Turner color. Ah, that's nice for the shadow side. I just wanted to come here, do a little bit of white on these edges here while I can. Okay. It's not really going to show up that much for y'all, but I can see it, and okay. I'll be going in there with some shadows. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get some red going. Looks like frost on the glass. That window back there, according to the reference, does have snow up in the window. So, hey, happy little accidents, right? All right, I think I'm going to put the final touches on this. And I want to thank you for watching. Please reach out and leave a comment. And if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.